Hello, friends. It's the Cinemondo podcast.
We're all friends.
Yeah.
Friendship. Yes, we are. Longtime friends.
We're friends. And
you got to have friends.
Friendship is important.
It is important.
It is.
But that people are a little too friendly, and then you're like, you want to be friends with them, but it's just too much.
Yeah, it's like a mistake. You talk to them at a party and you can't get away 20 minutes later. That happened to me last night in my real life. And I was like, I can't get away from this guy. He keeps talking about his hat. It actually happened. And it was like, I got to get away from this guy. I got to go home. I got to get away. It's creepy.
And the next thing you know, you're waking up in the middle of the night and they're standing there in your bedroom with a screwdriver.
What?
How do you know?
What did that look like? What was it? Why was a hat such a big deal? I want to know.
I don't know. I just couldn't get away from it. So, but that's not the kind of friendship we're talking about. We're talking about a movie called Friendship.
Right.
Maybe. And it stars Tim Robinson, who, if you're not familiar with, he's an interesting comic personality who has a show on Netflix for a couple of seasons. What was it called, Kathy? I can't remember the name of it.
You Can Leave Now or something?
Oh, yeah, something like that. And his humor is somewhere like it's just audacious and weird and funny and cringy.
You Should Leave is what it's called.
I think you should leave, right?
Which is perfect for Tim Robinson.
Yeah. And also Kate Marizin and Paul Rudd. And so it's a cool cast. Don't know much about it, but Friendship is the title. So obviously it has to do with a friendship. Maybe it's not
probably a very inspiring friendship is what we're about to see. Blossom.
Yeah.
No problem.
It's from A24, so we can expect a certain level of quality.
Okay. Well, let's check it out. Friendship coming out May of this year.
Coming out May. All right.
Yes.
All right, everybody ready? Okay, and
Hello? Howdy.
Honey, the new neighbor invited you over for a drink at 8 tonight. I said you'd go.
You don't know my schedule.
You sit there every night. Might be nice to have a pal, a bud.
Hey guys, this is my neighbor Craig. He's the best.
I was just spiraling. I mean, I see the way the guys look at her. I'm scared.
Sheila's lucky to have a dad like you.
Boy, you should know that I've got you on my mind. Just secret admirer.
I know that, friend.
I've been watching.
Okay. That's great.
I think of you. I want
He's like,
to be your baby.
If your game is
oh my God.
if your love is strong.
I can see the future. It's full of pals. I'm on the edge of life, and the view is gorgeous.
An absolute
We had
nightmare.
a couple of really nice hangs, but I think it best that we go our separate ways. I don't wish to continue this friendship.
You all accepted me way too fast. You can't do that. You made me feel too free. People need rules.
You should be dead, you psycho! Who are you?
Give me a second chance. Get to know me.
There's a new Marvel out that's supposed to be nuts. We should go see that.
It's called Ant-Man.
I love him. Oh my God. Tim Robinson's great because he goes on that edge. He's always uncomfortable. When he yells, he's amazing to watch, and I can't stop laughing when he yells.
I feel like this trailer may have shown too much. I feel like, you want the edge to be there. I love that one quote that said an absolute nightmare. It's like, how cool would it have been if you went through all this stuff and it led up to that, and then it suddenly went to a black screen and it said an absolute nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get one quick shot of him looking a little bit deranged. That would make me really want to see it. But now I kind of know that he goes bonkers and he goes crazy in the movie, and it's
But see, for me, it's about the performances. Like, I
Yeah.
don't even really care about the storyline. The storyline is putting these actors together to make me laugh and be like uncomfortable and like,
Cringy.
yes, cringing, and then knowing that it's going to that area, and still not sure how it's going to work out. And I love how they sort of make Paul Rudd seem like the guy you would want to be friends with because he's so easygoing and he seems like he wants to be a friend. Then he just blows you off. It'd be so heartbreaking, right? So you're like,
Right.
So I feel like he kind of gives you that little. You get that little feeling of like, remember when your friend would just blow you off, and you're like, why would they do that? What happened? And the freedom to see what someone who is crazy would do with that is, I don't know. I'd like to see what happens.
I like the fact that early on, you know, when they start singing and you realize you're with these people you don't know and they're doing something very weird in front of you.
Yeah.
And that's like, okay. But then he sort of acquiesces. Okay, I'm going to just go with it. And then it's what happens after that. It sort of turns out. So I just like that vibe, you know, that uncomfortable. You're with people you're really not sure you want to be with. And maybe this was a mistake. You know,
It's almost like a class thing too, because I know there's groups of friends. This happens a lot in out there in the real world, you know, where you find yourself in a group of people that you feel like these are not really my people, you know?
Mhm.
And I think a mature person kind of understands that and kind of recognizes it. And you're like, okay, I'm not really going to be friends with these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
But then there's other situations where I think people, especially I've actually known, working in the business I work in, I've actually known celebrities. All right. I'm going to drop that and say that I have known celebrities. I've become friends with celebrities. And one of the things they talk about is the fact that people often want very desperately to be their friend. And they want to get in the circle of me and my friends. And somebody will sort of show up and kind of insinuate themselves into try to get into, this is the celebrity talking. These people will try to get into my circle of friends. And it's almost like, you can't let everyone into your circle of friends. And of course it would be fun to be friends with a celebrity or somebody super cool, but maybe you just don't belong there.
Yeah.
And also like knowing, like you're saying, Mark, too, the red flags of like, this isn't my crowd. And this
Right.
it was like almost like a bro therapy thing.
Yeah.
There was like a bunch of dudes and they're all hanging together and they're being this thing and you're kind of like, it's kind of AA about it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, so you let your guard down. You start trusting it, even though in the back of your mind, you're like, And then when it starts going wrong, you're like, but I trusted you.
Yes.
I started to believe I could have new friends. Cause they talk about, there's this like thing where men, especially as they get older, have a hard time making friends. Like it's really hard for men to go out and make new friends. So for him, you can see like, she's like, you sit in that chair every day. There you are.
Yeah.
You don't know my schedule. It's like, yeah, I do.
I do.
For him to go out was a big leap, he put himself out there. Yeah. So you feel his pain. So I want to see him go completely nuclear because that is what he does so well. So good.
Well, your friendship's weird. When you're younger, you're always, you
collect.
It's almost like Facebook. You want more friends and you want 300 friends. But then you start realizing, and also when you're younger, what's weird, I always felt like when I was younger, I was a little bit more picky about my friends.
When you were younger?
In some ways, I was like,
I feel like everybody got a pass, no matter how weird or whatever's happening, you were fine with it.
Well, everybody had an option. I mean, it was almost like everybody had potential. You were like, oh, I could be friends with that person. But then you find out that they like this band and you're like, nah,
Ooh, you're out.
Yeah. Or they don't like this band or they like this movie. And you're like, ooh, I hated that movie. I can't be friends with that person. It was based on things
movies.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then as you get older, you get picky in other ways, you get
because
picky.
Time is so precious. And if
I think that's it.
Like,
that's the thing.
I feel comfortable with, and then are my people, and then that's like you just sort of feel like you have so little time, you want it to be quality time. And but in a way, that's kind of a trap because then you kind of isolate yourself, which is sort of like what's happening in this movie. You isolate, and even his neighbor, he wasn't even friends with his neighbor. So it's kind of maybe I do need to put myself out there, which is kind of what he's doing, which I always want to try to do. Like I need to start saying yes more. I need to go out more. I need to talk to more people and get together with people. But it's so much easier just to stay home in my chair.
Yeah. There's also that horror aspect of the neighbor idea.
Yes.
When we live in a neighborhood here in LA, that's an incredible neighborhood. We love our neighborhood, and every one of our neighbors that we've met We really like them. We like all of our neighbors, but we chat with them outside of our houses. We chat in the front yard.
Yeah.
And you
Walk
sort
by
of
and go, hi.
and
Good
you can-
fences make good neighbors.
That's right.
and you can chat with them for an hour, but you don't. But a lot of our neighbors, we haven't gotten to the point where we're going inside their house or having dinner with them or going.
That's a different level. That's a different level. Then all of a sudden you're invited over, and then all of a sudden your free time is taken up by people you like because of
proximity.
Proximity. It's location friends. Like
But
when
then-
I move around, I don't keep with up.
right.
How do you get away from them? That's the other problem, because they're your neighbor.
Yeah. That's why you
Yeah.
almost keep them in
You
our
sell your house and you move.
You sell
It's-
your house.
You know that the thing in one line I've always liked, I don't know if I'm quoting it correctly, but from Rosemary's Baby, where Rosemary says something like, oh, the next door neighbors are want us to come over for dinner. And the husband says, oh, Rosemary, don't make friends with old people. You'll never get rid of them. And it was like, but then he ends up becoming the one who's friends with them. But
And what happens?
and see,
Exactly.
yeah, what
That's
happened?
what happens. Like you make
Yeah.
friends with the neighbors. Next thing you're giving birth to Satan. That's how it works.
Yeah, see, so
And here's a poster, the copy line: men shouldn't have friends. That is exactly the perfect. I love the way Tim Robinson's standing there looking at him, looking such a loser. It was all beige.
Yeah,
So
but
sad.
it's like what I wore last week on the show. Thank you.
Really funny. But I like even just the wardrobe and the styling is perfect. The contrast is really good there.
It's
It
not
has
over
an
the
interesting
top, yeah.
vibe. I think, written and directed by Andrew DeYoung, his first feature, I think. So it has an interesting vibe, and I think it's like something I would like. And Burk says A24, which means it's going to bring a certain sort of creativity and interest to it. I
Stamp of
think. So,
approval.
right.
I always have Neon and A24 like the two. I'm like, oh, Neon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right.
A24.
I'm with
Okay.
you.
It's in
And
that
Tim Robbins.
category of movies of like that movie Neighbors and things
Yeah.
where relationships go sour. What was the one movie that we saw recently? You might remember where where someone makes friends with, or a friend comes over and leaves a package. I can't remember, but there was a guy at the door who was like a friend they couldn't get rid of.
Was that Jason Bateman? No.
Yeah, was that the one?
Yeah,
Jason
sure.
Bateman was the friend.
This one called
and-
like the gift or the box
the
or
gift,
something like
that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it just it's
The
like
box.
he seems like such a nice guy, but then slowly it goes sour. And then the fact that he's your next door neighbor, you can't just walk away from that friendship. And it's an interesting kind of isolation horror concept when you
Kind of
think
is.
about it.
And then also, like, say you do make friends with some, it's sort of like what this is sort of positing. You invite your friend over. You want to be, you invite them into your crowd, and then you're like, this isn't a good fit. This isn't a good idea. And so then you start leaving them out, and then they kind of confront you. That alone, pure Tim Robinson right there, super uncomfortable.
I had a friend years ago that I worked with on something, and we were friends because we were working on a movie together, and then something happened where he got my address, and I lived in a place, it was downtown, and it was like in a loft, and you could kind of see light through part of my window. And I remember at like 1 o'clock in the morning, knock, 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 and I'm like, what the hell?
Bring it to your door at 1 a.m. You just don't.
You just don't answer
that.
it.
Don't
But
ever
then it
answer.
was
It's never
knocking
good.
again. And then I heard out there, Burk.
What is wrong with people?
Burk.
No.
So I finally go to the door and I open it a little bit, and it's this guy, and I'm like, hey, and we're in the middle of downtown, and kind of this sketchy area. It's not easy to get to. I was like, are you okay? I was thinking, does car break down or something happen? He's like, hey, I saw your light was on.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh, what's up? What's going on? He's like, oh, and he's starting to move towards the door, and I'm like, it's kind of late. And he's like, oh, it won't stay too long.
Too long.
No, go away.
And it turned into a rant about work, about how much he hates the job and hates this one dude, and this guy's not
That's what you
treating
want
him
to talk
fair.
about at 1 a.m.
And I'm sitting there just, yeah, I know. Oh yeah, me too. Yeah.
Friends.
It's really, and you're like,
that's friendship too. That's the sequel.
too. Put
But
your
what do you
friendship
do?
nightmares in the comments. Let's know you have a weird friendship.
And I'm
moment.
thinking, I know he knows where I live now, and he's gonna be looking for my light being on. What am I gonna do? Turn the lights off in my house now forever? And
Yep.
so
Nope, you just
it's
gotta
a
tell him
horror concept for sure.
It is a horror concept.
Horror concept.
Horror comedy concept.
There's my friend's story.
It's a nightmare. All right, let us know what you think.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah,
See you
yeah,
soon.
like what you just said. Give us your nightmare friend story in the comments.
Stories.
That'd be fun. Fun to
All
read
right.
that for sure. Okay. Take
Bye,
care.
everybody.